What's up, lore masters? So, due to issues on my side, the breakdown of Operation Return is going to be somewhat delayed. While I'm waiting on a few assets to finish up, thought I'd get this video out of the way, which is namely to break down the Prophet's decision to enter into the war. Well, at least publicly show they've been in it. There's actually a larger theory that I intend to get into at a later point, but for now, we'll just discuss the outrage that sometimes is inspired by this plot point. With the minefield destroyed, spoilers I guess, the Defiant enters into the wormhole to battle the Dominion reinforcements. While in the wormhole, Cisco is confronted by the Prophets when they notice the man apparently is about to commit suicide. Unfortunately, I think Cisco's motivations are written entirely poorly here. We're never given enough information on why any of this occurs. Why did Cisco go into the wormhole? Did he know the Prophets would ask what the hell he was doing? I mean, if so, we're never given any indication that was his plan, and he seems more annoyed with them than not. Was he going to try to fight off all of the Jem'Hadar? That's a waste of both his life and that of his crew. He does state that he'd be willing to die and even let his crew die if it meant stopping the Jem'Hadar, but this certainly wouldn't do that. This action is just throwing your life and the life of your crew away. If we're going to be charitable, I'd say that he and everyone else on that ship was running on emotion, and so that's why they decided to do something incredibly stupid and wasteful. Focusing on the Prophets, they would call Cisco out, seeing what he was doing as discussed. And for good reason. I mean, suicide isn't really the best option here. If I'm honest, the Prophets are extremely confusing in concept. We know that they aren't linear. They exist in all time and at all places, at least within the wormhole itself. However, they still have to be told what is going on. Somehow. We also see the nefarious nature of them begin to spring up here. Cisco tells them to stay out of his life, and they specifically state that they won't do that. They have a right to his life. Cisco's entire being is basically a part of some chess game the Prophets have been playing. But even though the Prophets have manipulated nearly every aspect of his life, they've ensured his birth, have made sure that he would be where he currently is. To help him, they require a penance. Because I know when I put my daughters in the middle of the road against their volition and without their consent, and then save them from getting hit by a truck, they owe me. That's just good parenting. We don't know for sure what the Prophets mean when they require the penance, but it's most likely that Cisco will not get to enjoy his retirement on Bajor as he had planned to. The godlike beings state that Cisco is of Bajor but will find no rest there. His paw will follow another path. Also, another interesting note here. Cisco does point out that the wormhole aliens have manipulated the Bajorans, a people that he claims to love, and yet doesn't seem angry about it. The Prophets made it so the Bajorans believed that they were deities. I guess if you talk people into believing you are a god, it's now okay with Starfleet, so screw you, TOS, TNG, and Voyager. We'll get into the meta-analysis of the Prophets much later in this series. For now, we'll take a look at what happens in the episode. Analyzing that, the Dominion ships begin to disappear from sensors once Cisco arrives back onto the Defiant. We don't know exactly what occurs to them in canon, but according to Trek Online, they are just moved in the timeline and continue to attack the station. Thanks, Prophets, I guess you really care about Bajor, huh? The last piece to discuss is that a lot of people find this plot point to be poor writing, specifically the Prophets saving the day. I can understand them saying it's poor writing, but I honestly get confused if they think that the Prophets are poor writing, but the self-replicating minds aren't. The thing is, both the Prophets and the minds are basically the same storytelling device. They're magic. When you break them down, they accomplish the same goal and both make no sense within the universe they inhabit. There's no way that the minds could be powered enough to replicate and keep up a constant defense. There are multiple ways to penetrate the field or bypass it altogether. The Prophets themselves could have helped in a multitude of ways, which would have made a lot of sense. Why does it have to get to this point for them to stop the Dominion? Even if we take into account a theory I'm going to do at a later point. It makes little sense. If there's a scale of in-universe believability from 0 to 10, with 0 being completely believable and 10 being completely unbelievable, both the minds and Prophets generally fall into the 7 to 8 range. They break continuity and the fourth wall, but just for different reasons. Either way, back to what I was talking about before, this is the first hint we see about the Prophets already having orchestrated at least a piece of the war. We'll discuss how the Prophets are basically the Borg, Q, and the worst aspects of Starfleet all combined at the end of all this. But for now, what are your opinions on the Deus Ex Prophets? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.